Upland just dropped one of the biggest developer updates that we've ever seen. That's right, it's pretty big. We've got offices in this update, commerce scores, we've got bonds between neighborhoods, trade routes, that's right, trade routes are coming, trailers for semi-trucks, new semi-trucks, a major change to Sparklet packages. There's a lot to unpack here in this announcement. As always, we're gonna do a 10,000 foot overview. Make sure you come and read it in full so you're informed. Unfortunately, there are some very uninformed people with very strong opinions. Don't be one of those people. That's social media. That's social media in 2026, right? Don't be a social media bro. Come and read the announcement in full. But this will give you a good idea of what we talked about this video. That's the purpose of this video. Most of what we talk about here is what the Upland team is working on behind the scenes, and most of this will drop later in 2026. However, the first item that we're going to talk about here is out now to get you prepared for a lot of the other items that are coming later in 2026. And that is office structures, ladies and gentlemen. That's right. Offices are live in the store today. There are 4 types and 2 price tiers. There's UPX and there's USD. This is the foundation of almost everything else in this update here is offices. So we've got the small office you can see here for 30,000 UPX. We've got the larger office that you can see here for 50,000 UPX. Then we've got the office complex, I can't talk, for $10. And finally, the office tower for $15. Now, unlike some other structures in the game, these are permanent store items. There's no rush to get these. There's no limited sales. If you don't pick them up today, you decide to get them in 6 months, they will be there. They are permanently available for you to pick up in the store for all time. Now, why should you get office units or offices? Why do offices matter? Well, offices contain office units, just the same way that service structures have service units and residential structures have residential units. Offices have office units. Now, these measure how much commerce is happening in that neighborhood. The more offices you have, the stronger your commercial presence, the higher your commerce score. This is a new score that's coming that we'll take a look at here in the rest of this announcement. This is a big future detail. Uppies will eventually work in these offices, and you'll be able to level up the offices by the level of uppie that you have working in these offices. So obviously, you've got a couple level 10s in an office. That office is going to be happening. It's going to be leveled up to the moon versus, let's say, some level 6s in there. The office tower right here that we're looking at is interesting because it takes up less ground space. It leaves more room for decorations, other items on your property, etc., etc. So we do need to talk about bonds though, because yes, you want to build offices, but not in the same way that you want to build your other structures. So with other structures, you primarily want to build them in your neighborhood. Well, with offices, you want to coordinate with other people to build offices in your neighborhood. And by your neighborhood, I mean where you have your home address, and you want to build your offices in their neighborhood where they have their home address. And this creates bond. This is the game changer. This is the new mechanic here. A bond forms when 2 players create reciprocal office placements between neighborhoods. In fact, here's the example. So you have your home address in neighborhood A. You build an office in neighborhood B. A player whose address is in neighborhood B builds an office structure in neighborhood A, or your neighborhood. That creates a mutual bond. You guys have office structures in each other's neighborhoods. Bonds are not created by building offices in your own neighborhood. In fact, building offices in your own neighborhood really won't be worth it. You're going to want to build in other people's neighborhoods. Now, you could build in your own neighborhood and then sell it to someone in another neighborhood, and then that would create that bond there. That's a strategy that we expect a lot of players will utilize. This is the part people are going to miss. Placing offices at home does nothing for bonds. You have to go cross neighborhood to make this work. You got to coordinate with other players, with other neighborhoods. This means community coordination. It's a big part of this new strategy here. Players who organize with others to build reciprocal offices will dominate when it comes to the commerce score. Solo players who don't coordinate or don't think strategically here, and they just stack offices in their own neighborhood, they're going to fall behind because they won't have that bond score. Think of it like real world. Bond score is basically real world trade agreements between cities, between neighborhoods. That is what bond scores are. Now, bond scores will lead to commerce scores. And there's 4 things that go into your commerce score here. So com score is your office units plus bonds. So the stronger your bond score is, the stronger or the higher your commerce score is going to be. 4 things that make a commerce score stronger. The first one, and you can see we have them on screen. Let me just pull it up so all of them are on screen. First one is unique mutual bonds. This means that the more different players are involved in building office structures in your neighborhoods and you're building office structures in their neighborhoods, the stronger bond you're going to have. Balanced bonds is number 2. So for instance, 5 to 5 is better than 5 to 1. Both sides need to contribute equally. So if you're working with neighborhood A and you're in neighborhood B and you have 5 offices in their neighborhood, they only have 1 in your office, that's not going to be as strong of a bond as if you both have 5 in each other's neighborhood. The other thing that goes into your commerce score here is going to be network diversity. That is, how many different neighborhoods do you have these bond with? So yes, it's great to have a really strong bond with one neighborhood or 2 neighborhoods, but you're also going to want to have them with many different neighborhoods, not just 1 or 2. That creates the stronger bond. And last but not least, we've got distance. Distance between connected neighborhoods will play an increasing role as trade routes are introduced, and we'll get to trade routes launch. We'll get to what trade routes are here later in this announcement. So why does this matter? Because the commerce score will feed into your resident score in the future, which determines where uppies choose to live. The higher your commerce score represents how much trade is happening between cities, how much goods is being transferred between cities. The higher your commerce score, the more attracted to neighborhoods uppies and residents are going to be here. The more residents you're going to have in your neighborhood, more activity, more value. This will be the new meta. Now, this bonds is not live yet. This is coming later in 2026, but offices are here, so you can start preparing now. Again, this will be a part of the meta going forward. So you're going to need to up your commerce score. That's where residents are going to be attracted. And then this will play into trade routes, which is also coming here later in 2026. But it all ties back to draw. What draws residents and uppies to your neighborhoods? Answer, commerce score is going to play a big part of that here going into the future. So let's talk about trade routes. And I actually just want to stay on this picture here because this is cool. Now, this is just this is just for illustrative purposes. Final designs are going to vary. Let's get that asterisk out of the way here. This is trade routes, and this is coming to Upland in 2026. So what are trade routes? Well, you can think of them like fishing, but on roads instead of water. On fishing, you explore water to find troves. With trade routes, you transport cargo on roads to find troves. So what is cargo? I saw this question come up. Like, is cargo going to be map assets? No. Cargo is simulated here, but you actually have to do the driving for that simulated cargo yourself. You've got to go and complete the trade route. You've got to go on the trade route. Your cargo is automatically loaded up into your semi truck for you. This is where semi trucks become huge. They become the core vehicle for this system. So you can see here's trade routes across the map. Now these trade routes will be global. Not just in the U.S., we just use the U.S. for now, but they will absolutely be global trade routes in the future. So you can imagine a future where, for instance, a trade route from Hong Kong to L.A. exists, and you're going to have the correct vehicles to do that in the future. But for now, semi-trucks represent the core vehicle for this system. They carry the most cargo of any vehicle. Trade routes connect the office and bond system to actual gameplay here. Offices create bonds, bonds create commerce, commerce powers the trade routes. You go on those trade routes with your semi-trucks and you collect troves. You're rewarded with troves for those trade routes. This gives real purpose to all of the infrastructure that we're building right now. Now, this is planned to drop later in 2026. Really, really cool. Again, semi-trucks will be the main focus here because they carry the most cargo. You are going to be able to go on these trade routes, and the more cargo you carry, the bigger your reward, etc., etc. Also, the distance. This is where distance ties in. The longer distance you go on your trade route, the bigger your potential reward too. Now, what are your rewards? Troves. Troves will be your rewards. Again, think of fishing, but on roads. This is how this will exist. So that is what trade routes are. Now, we're excited to announce trailers. Finally, everybody's been waiting for trailers. So trailers, this is the brand new asset class that is coming here later, also in 2026. Now, there is a caveat here. Trailers are standalone map assets. They do not attach to your semi-trucks. That's just not how they work. How they will work is players will place trailers at distribution centers, and that is where you will go pick up your items, your cargo, that's the word I'm looking for, on your trade routes. Now, distribution centers, what are distribution centers? They are a future feature. We'll have more details about distribution centers in the future. But for now, you just need to know that your trailers that are coming, you'll place them at different distribution centers and you'll set your trade routes up, and then you'll be able to complete them from there. So trailers are a part of that. Here's the big one though. Every player who owns a semi-truck will get a free trailer when they do become available. This means that if you already have a semi-truck, you've had one for a while, you've been waiting for this, well, guess what? You're going to get rewarded for being in here early. If you do not have one, there are new 2026 semi-trucks that are coming soon. Trailers will also come with those as well when they drop. So they won't come initially, but when this drops later in 2026, everybody who owns one will get a trailer. And that is trailer. Again, stay tuned for more details on exactly how all of these mechanics will work. But it's really exciting, everything that is coming and building upon the layers that we already have in Upland. Super, super cool. And that brings us to the new 2026 semi-trucks, and they look really cool. Now, these are brand new designs. They're purposely built for trade routes, just like the old semi-trucks. They have the largest capacity. The semi-truck class itself has the largest capacity in the game. Pricing and quantities are going to come in a future announcement, but get ready, because if you want to get into trade routes in the future, the semi-truck is going to be your entry point, your best entry point here. I love this side view, by the way. How cool are semi-trucks? Freaking cool. And that brings us to the Sparklet store changes. And there's quite a lot here in the Sparklet store that's coming. I'll just put this announcement here so you guys can kind of read through the most important parts. Where is it? There we go. Basically, changes that are coming to the Sparklet store beginning this week. Packages are being reduced, and each package will contain 35% less Sparklet in it. And so the intention here is to reduce store supply and push more activity to the exchange. Bigger packages, also the $50, the $100, the $300 package, they're also moving to web only. So you'll still be able to get them all through Upland, but they're moving through web only. Meanwhile, on mobile apps, the $5, the $10, and the $25 packages will be available then. The best value for going forward for now will be getting Sparklet on an exchange like Uniswap and then bridging it in. Again, this is being done to encourage more activity on the exchange and also to ensure long-term health and sustainability of Sparklet going forward. Again, if you have any questions about this, come and read this announcement in full, become informed, make sure you understand it fully, because there is a lot in this dev update. This is my favorite part, trade routes. I'm all about trade routes. So what you can do now, you can buy offices now. They're in the store, UPX and USD, and start preparing. Start preparing for the bond system that's incoming. Start preparing for trade routes that are incoming. Start working with other neighborhoods on placement of these offices. You can get ahead before everyone else figures this out, and you can hit the ground running. It's a new era of Upland that is coming. This is Upland growing up. Ultimately, property ownership is still the foundation. It is the foundation, but now we're adding on top of that layer these systems that start to cover everything from not only what do you own, but who you're connected to, how you utilize your assets that you own. The bond system turns this into a social strategy game. Trade routes give all of that infrastructure a purpose here. And players who start building offices and forming bonds today are going to be way ahead, especially when trade routes actually launch later this year. This is a big update. Again, make sure you come read all of it in full. We just did a brief overview here. Come and understand it. Share it with your friends. Share it with players who may have been out, who have a semi-truck, who maybe they've not been in Upland for a while. Hey, guess what? Your semi-truck, it's freaking cool. What's coming? Trade routes are coming. So really excited. Again, please let us know any feedback, negative feedback, positive feedback, what you like, what you don't like. Let the community team know. We will pass it along to the devs. We'll pass it along to the greater Upland team. Love hanging out with you guys. Have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you in Upland. Bye-bye.